Hello and welcome to the channel. This is Lunar Goddess Tarot. It has been about a week and a half since I have been led to create a video, and many things have happened in those 9-10 days. I believe this is the 10th day. So I wanted to just go ahead, jump on here and do a reading for you guys to just kind of discuss the upgrades and the shifts and changes that are happening. And what I'm finding is that they're very significant. They're very significant, and I do believe that by the time we leave this year behind us and we enter 2022, that year carries a completely different vibration. Excuse me, I'm still recovering over here physically from the spiritual flu and many other things that many of you have been experiencing as well. So I still have this tickle and this cough, so I apologize in advance. We are going to be leaving this year behind gladly, thankfully, and with more hope and more courage going into 2022. And the Divine Feminine is finding herself on a very independent path and an independent course at this time. And a lot of you are questioning the label itself. And so I want to address that. And I have addressed that actually over on Patreon. I have 2 brand new posts over there on Patreon discussing what's happening, the current energies, and what about the twin flame label? What does it really mean? What significance does it hold? And where are we going from here? So are we dissolving the twin flame label? How is that going to work moving forward? Because many things, again, are shifting at a rapid speed right now. We're purging, we're shifting. And as we move into December, I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. Things are also rapidly shifting on the planet, and more people are awakening to the truth every single day. If you guys want a lot more detailed information and insight into what's happening on the planet, come over and join the Patreon, because that's where I share a lot of things that I'm unable to share here, and can really get into the nitty-gritty of the ascension symptoms, the twin flame journey, the true significance of it, what true union means, and again, where we're headed from here, because a lot of you are feeling kind of the angst or the anxiety of what comes next. So I am going to pull some cards today. I'm not going to do the messages today because I'm just not led to do that. I know a lot of you guys really enjoy those messages, but I don't want anyone to feel like they have to lean on those messages from the Divine Masculine. I think it's really important and imperative right now that the Divine Feminine lean into herself. And so that's what I'm going to encourage you guys to do. And I wanted to also let you guys know that I will be dropping an abundance workbook. It'll be on the website, available to the public here. I think I'm going to drop it during the holidays, and I'm going to do a holiday deal for maybe like a week or 2, and then you know, from there it'll go to the regular price come January. But this is something that I've shared with my coaching group, so they have first dibs on it and it's included in their package, but I wanted to share it to the general public, so it'll be available at a nominal price. And I really encourage you guys to delve into it, because it's all about abundance from within, and creating abundance, and how abundance is linked intricately to our love relationships. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop into the reading here. You can also look forward to a video with Holly and myself coming in December. We're both recovering from being sick, so we really had hoped to do the video and some mini readings for you guys much earlier, but we've both been going through a lot, just like you guys, and we just haven't felt like it was the right time. So we are going to be offering that and giving you insight into what a session with us will look like, a healing session, a coaching session, and we combine the healing and coaching together, and we work with you, so it's a 2-on-1 session. Okay, so we'll be doing that shortly. I also have information about that on my website, and you can reach out via email. I am not doing private readings at this time. Okay, so let's get started asking the archangels and the guides to step forward here. And of course, the ancestors, the grandmother energy, still very much present at this time. Grandfather energy is stepping forward as well, but not quite as prominently as the grandmother energy, because we are healing Mother Gaia at this time. So we see that there's a journey. Yes, a journey. We have the moon, so a major arcana card coupled with a minor arcana card, the Six of Swords. So divine feminine, what is happening right now is you are on a journey. And you're on this journey, it's a rite of passage, okay, that one takes with the Six of Swords. It's actually a very, very positive card, in my opinion. And where this journey leads, it's up to you. It's up to the choices, right? The karma you've accrued, the karma you've burned, and the choices you've made. But many twins, you know, especially the twins that were involved with a partner, a counterpart that was married or, you know, was otherwise involved, you have stepped fully back. And what that's done is helped the karma to balance out so that you're now accumulating positive karma. So if you have accumulated negative karma, the way you can balance that out is not going to hell. That's not how karma works. It's not punishment. But the way you can balance it out is in making positive choices and decisions that are going to better not only you, but other people around, okay? Everyone. So for the betterment of everyone. So when you make a decision to step away from a counterpart who is married or otherwise engaged with another individual, you're clearing the karma, you're making a positive choice, and then you now have positive, it's like pluses and minuses, you now have more positive than negative. And so you want to continue making those choices and choosing yourself, divine feminine, because the divine masculines for eons have been up against a lot of darkness and dark forces. And that is that's what they've been entangled with for the majority of 2021. And it is not the divine feminine's job in the physical 3D reality to step in and quote unquote save the divine masculine from himself or from his choices or the karmic situations that he's entangled himself with. That's his karma. You don't need to make that your karma. So the divine feminine has really wisened up, and you know, you've gone through and endured a lot of your karmic situations in the past, and you're now clearing your path so that you don't have to endure those karmic situations, and you have this positive karma. It's a positive balance in your account. And so beautiful things are coming, beautiful things are flowing in for you. And wherever you might have been sort of stuck in an illusion about this connection or about this label, like we've been so attached to the twin flame label to the detriment of our personal development, because you attach the label and you allow things that you would never allow if not for the label. And again, I talk more about this over in a written post on Patreon in detail, because you sort of, it's like the feminine was saying to herself previously, well, this is all in the name of love. It's all in the name of this divine connection, but it's not divine if there's deception. It's not divine if one of the counterparts is still in the darkness. The feminine has to pull herself out. You cannot go down with him. You cannot go down with the divine masculine. You have to pull yourself up and allow yourself to be free. And a lot of the feminines, you've freed yourselves from this idea that I'll lose my counterpart forever. For better or worse, you're connected to your true divine counterpart. There's a divine cord that connects you infinitely, so you can never lose your counterpart. And if you're afraid of losing them, seek them inside of yourself, because that's where you will find the true divine counterpart, not outside of you in the physical reality. And so the divine masculine has been up against a lot, divine feminine. And there's a lot I can't say because of the way that this platform is run. There's a lot of things that I'd love to say, but basically understand that there were a lot of illusions that the feminine is now seeing through. And this is causing some triggering. It's causing the feminine to rethink this whole entire journey. What is this for? What is it all worth? Is it worth it in the end? Do I end up with this person? And that's sort of the big question mark, is do we end up with the counterpart? And there are very few people who are actually with their true twin flame. There are a few very powerful twin flame couples who are leading the way, but a lot of the people that might think, and with the best of intentions, that they're twin flames, they're actually kindred spirits or soulmates. There are very few twin flame couples that have been through the fire, and you know, so I think it's important that we recognize that you don't have to burn yourself in the name of a label or in the name of a connection or in the name of the counterpart. You need to put yourself first, Divine Feminine. This has been your rite of passage, is to see through the illusion. Okay, so very, very powerful. Very powerful transitional period right now as we are still stepping through the portal here. It's the portal, guys, of the eclipses. I believe, I haven't been following astrology, so please forgive me, but I do believe we have a solar eclipse very soon here. It's now, what, the 29th of November, so coming up here, I think it's the first week in December. I'm not sure, but I know it's coming up, and it's the complement to the lunar eclipse in Taurus. So I do believe that this is a solar eclipse in Scorpio, and very, very powerful indeed. Very powerful indeed. We are on the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse axis at this time, so we have shifted, and we will be working through those eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio for the next, I think it's year and a half, like 18 months. So very powerful, guys, transformative. It's about death and rebirth. It's also about anchoring into the physical 3D reality and making that more enjoyable, making that more of a healing place for us to live and inhabit here on this earth. There's just so many epiphanies that we are all having. And I know if I'm having them, you're having them, which is why I share them. And everyone in my group, or many people, I shouldn't say everyone, many people in the group are feeling exactly the same way. So that's how we know that we're all in this together. Now let's get a message here for the feminines who are really struggling right now with the journey. Can we get a message, please, Spirit, with the feminines who are really struggling? One of the things I'm noticing physically, I mean, if you guys read my updates, I just went through the spiritual flu. I had fever, I had aches and pains, I had chills, I didn't have sweats, I had chills, and this brutal cough that lingers that I tend to get once a year, despite the best efforts. Is water retention. So there's a lot of bloating and water retention, a lot of sensitivity to food right now. You're hungry, you're not hungry, you're eating at odd hours, you're eating a lot, you're eating a little. You might have diarrhea or nausea or vomiting. A lot of those things, it's literally a physical purging. We're in the physical part of the ascension process where you're physically experiencing it. All right, there we go. 4 of Swords, yes. For those feminines who are really feeling just completely exhausted from this journey, you are being asked to rest right now. You're being advised to rest and take it easy, and not to put anyone or anything ahead of you and ahead of your needs. Instead, put yourself first. Give yourself some TLC. I mean, this is the card of TLC. This is the card of taking care of oneself, going within, and sort of shutting out the outside world. Go to a spa, do a sauna if you can, you know, in some way take a bath, a bubble bath, in some way allow yourself to be immersed in a healing process, because that's what your body is asking for right now. So put yourself first, Divine Feminine. Now I'm also going to pull from the Sacred Forest Oracle here. So we're going to pull a card. Let's do a card for the feminine energy who's struggling. So focus on your own happiness. We have the spirit of Bluebird that wants to come through, and that wants to also just allow you to believe in miracles again. We have the rainbow waterfall energy. I see a beautiful purple blue butterfly, a red butterfly, the numbers 7 and 31. So those could be significant for some of you. The month of July, the number 7, 31 could be a birthday. 7/31, July 31st could be somebody's birthday. But we also see the unicorn spirit. You know, unicorns also represent magic and miracles. So the divine is saying to you, and excuse me for the constant clearing of my throat. It's very annoying. I apologize. The divine is saying to you to focus on miracles, to focus on magic, and focus on the things that you can't see with your own two eyes. So if you're seeing bluebird, that is a sign that this is your spirit animal at this present time, assisting you through your journey. If you're seeing butterflies, particularly purple, blue, red butterflies, or unicorns, wish we could see unicorns in our 3D. But if you're seeing, can't remember what these flowers are called either. If you're seeing rainbows or waterfalls, or I feel like those are the flowers that you see in DC in springtime, but I cannot for the life of me think of the name of them. But these are all signs that you can be looking for at this time to surround you, feminine. Feminine that is struggling, that miracles are all around you. Take the time that you need to rest and understand. I know it's challenging to feel like everything on this journey has been an illusion or that you've been duped in some way, but this is all part of the purification process, because another card that came up here was purification, and then we had unicorn purity. So we had 4 cards that came out. Interesting, you've got unicorn twice. You've got unicorn in this card here, and then you've got unicorn here. So definitely this energy of purity, childlike innocence is coming through, nurturing the inner child, going back to the things that you love that are simple, okay, going back to simplistic things, and then just purifying. So the energy of winter. So winter is going to be purifying for the divine feminine, especially for the divine feminine who is struggling at this time, who's struggling on her journey, who's struggling to understand what is the purpose, what is the meaning of all of this, where is this, where am I going? If you guys are looking for assistance on your journey, on your paths, whether you identify as a light worker, a starseed, a twin soul, or you're part of a higher soulmate connection or kindred spirit, or you're just ascending and you need assistance, we can help you. So reach out to me via email. We have sessions available and we can assist you with that. Now let's get some cards here for the feminine who isn't struggling but just wants some clarification. And I've got some flying cards here, much to the chagrin of the cat. He's not pleased. Growth, toadstools, and ancient oak spirit strength. So yeah, you are embodying strength right now, divine feminine. So if you've chosen this path and you know that this is a challenging path, this isn't necessarily the easy path, but you've chosen this, you're being rewarded. You are growing and you are getting stronger. And for you, we have the number 2, very significant, 44, which is 2 plus 2. Well, 2 and 2, excuse me, reduced down. And then you have 2. So you have the energy of 2 here. So 2 is a very significant number. 2 comes after the 1 year. So the 1 year is like the beginning. It's when I'm actually in a 1 year in 2021 here, and then I'll be in a 2 year next year as my life path, or as my, not my life path number, I'm a 4 life path, if anyone's interested. Goes along very well with the Virgo North Node that I have. But I will be in the number 2 for next year. So that tells me that I'm in the 2nd year of this new beginning, right? So and then last year I was in a 9 year. So it was the year of endings, the year of kind of transmutation, transformation. Everything was changing, everything was shifting. And this year I got to sort of reinvent myself. And in doing so, I've grown tremendously. You know, right now you're going to be in the place, divine feminine, where you're not going to be recognizing yourself from one day to the next, physically or spiritually or emotionally or mentally, because we are changing so rapidly. So I want you guys to be very kind to yourselves, and I want you to forgive yourself for, you know, just forgive yourself for not having all the answers and needing more time to rest than usual, being moodier than usual. Your clothes might be, you know, fitting a little tightly because of this water retention and bloat that we're experiencing as we change our relationship to food and things that we want, the things that our body needs. There's so many shifts that are happening right now, I can't even begin to explain them. So it's interesting because I just pulled the 5 of Pentacles, which is like my left out in the cold card, and then the 9 of Pentacles. So This is for the feminine who is going through this growth spurt and strength, who's being strengthened spiritually, okay? Your strength in the divine and your faith in yourself and your faith in why am I here and what is my purpose. That is what's being worked on right now. Kind of seeing two groups here. So for this particular group, you know, Knight of Pentacles it's a singles card. It's also the card of just success, financial success, success in the material world, abundance, and just creating your own wealth and allowing your wealth to be whatever it is that you desire, whether that's money, whether that's clients, whether that's travel, whether that's healthy food or fitness or friends or, you know, talents or gifts. There's so many ways in which abundance can show up. Not just, it's not just about the material gain. And you also have this. And so I feel like what the divine is saying is for those of you who felt left out in the cold, whose counterparts just went silent or quiet, or you had a really rough year where your counterpart may have gone back to a karmic partner or situation or gone back to an addiction or just in some way hugely disappointed you, and you sort of had these expectations and they were not met. What you've done is you've turned the rags into riches. You've turned your tears into this kind of like saline solution that is creating abundance. You did not allow that to take you down, and you're being rewarded for that, divine feminine. Not because crying is weak, not because showing your emotions is weak or bad, but because the divine is recognizing the efforts that you've put in on your own. So, you know, I talk about this over on Patreon, but my most recent post with the twin flame label, but what's happening is there are going to be walk-ins for some divine feminines whose divine masculines have chosen out of free will not to step outside of the matrix. And so you will have another masculine come in to play the role of the counterpart. And or you'll just decide you'll meet an amazing soulmate who wants to give you everything you've ever desired, and you will go that route. Now, whether the counterpart comes back in the future, I don't know. Nobody can really tell you that. Only your soul knows that and what you have planned and what the planet most needs at this time. But a lot of feminines, again, as I've stated, are not sticking around, waiting around. That energy of waiting is gone. It's vanished. We're done waiting. We are done, you know, being understanding in the sense of if the counterpart has chosen not to walk this path with you, you've been walking it solo for long enough, and you're just surrounding yourself with the things that really truly bring you joy, and you're surrounding yourself with love, and you're not going to allow somebody to dictate your emotions, your feelings, or your mood any longer. Again, the waiting phase is over, divine feminine. So if you still feel like you're in that waiting phase, it's time to release the expectation or the outcome. I'm actually really being called. I know that we have a moon event here, significant, you know, eclipse season, but I'm being called more towards the Work Your Light and the Beyond Lemuria cards. Cat, the cards keep on falling on the ground, and the cat is like, "What are you doing, disturbing my nap?" Ow! So we've got Rama. Where are you being called to journey to? Yeah, it's the journey home, divine feminine. The journey to the most divine place within yourself and the most divine place that you can create on this planet. This is definitely the calling home of the divine feminine, and because of the waters in this card and the ruins, you know, this is ancient knowing and ancient civilizations that you might be being called back to at this time. In particular, I feel Egypt and just the energy of this card. I also feel strongly that there's a sacred rose energy to this card as well. So some of you might be familiar or might be members of the Sacred Rose collective, and so you just want to look into the meaning of that if you're feeling called to that as I speak that. But there is definitely a stirring of the soul that's happening here for the Divine Feminine as she traverses the path of her true nature, and she starts to realize, like, I have been waiting on somebody that, and it's, you know, what have I sacrificed in the name of this label, and what have I sacrificed in the name of this person, in the name of this counterpart, and how much of my happiness have I sort of allowed myself to give away? How much of my power have I given away? So some really important questions that the Divine Feminine is asking herself. And you might feel some anger as you go through this, Divine Feminine. You might feel some temptation to sort of reach out and confront the counterpart. But it's best to maybe write a letter and burn it. It's best to, I mean, you know your journey best. Maybe it is best for you to reach out in the 3D, but I don't feel like the Divine Masculine is going to be very receptive right now. I feel like they're going to be pretty cold and just pretty self-absorbed, because again, they need to be released from the third-party energies, whatever that third party is, an addiction, a drug, alcohol, another person, family, job, you know, lust, energy, greed, envy, power, control. Until they can be released from the matrix, they're not going to be the counterpart or the partner that you are desiring right now, Divine Feminine. And they're not reflecting all the work that you've done. You want a counterpart that reflects to you the work that you've done internally, and they're just not there yet. So it's interesting because this literally means a journey of the soul. It's a Celtic word, and it literally means the journey of the soul. So again, it's another voyage, just like the Six of Swords. It's a voyage, just driving that point home that you're on a voyage, Divine Feminine. And where you're going, we don't know yet. Okay, you're on a journey of your soul. But it does feel very ancient. It feels like, you know, you're journeying to places that your soul remembers. So maybe it's a good time to do that Akashic Records reading that you've been wanting to do. And there is a shift that's taking place within you and also on the planet. And you might even be called to journey to a physical place, although we know that that's sort of challenging right now with all the restrictions and rules in place. But that's going to open up a lot in 2022. There's going to be a lot more travel, a lot more openings. The restrictions are going to lift. You'll see things are going to change on that front, and we're going to be doing a lot of grid work in certain places. So now we have the Mintakan card as well for the feminine, and what this is again, it's a longing for home. It's like I'm being called home to myself. That's your castle there, the castle of your own soul. Mintakans are the original star seeds. If you're a Mintakan star seed, you are part of my tribe, and we are the original light workers, and we existed in a utopian water world that was destroyed. But so we both feared and revered this water. So interesting enough, in this lifetime, I have a fear and a reverence for the water, especially the ocean and the power of the ocean and the nature, the life that it contains. I've gotten, you know, I live near the beach. I grew up by the beach. And so I have encountered being, you know, swept out to sea, so to speak, or caught up in a riptide, which was horrendously scary for a child. I also have always had a fear of drowning, like falling off a bridge and drowning in the water below. And when I was learning how to swim, I like wouldn't come up to breathe. I don't know why. I was scared. And so my swim teacher literally would have to pick me up by my swimsuit, and I would always miss playtime at the end because I would never, I don't know what it was, but I wouldn't come up to breathe. So I now believe that it was past life fear or past life trauma, And I didn't know how to explain that, or, you know, nobody would have understood me or even been sympathetic to it, you know, probably. But I did experience some trauma related to water. And so, you know, if you're an original Mintakan starseed, you can, again, have this immense joy. The water can give you such peace. It's so graceful, but you also know it's turbulence. You also know, you know, there's tsunamis, there's hurricanes and tornadoes and all of these things. And the water can, you know, can give life and take life. And so we're born in the, you know, placenta, we're born in water, a water sac. And so it's kind of all we know. We are part of the water. We are part of nature. But there's also the fear of drowning, or the fear of being submerged in it, or just the fear of its ravenous nature, its ravenous appetite to kind of destroy everything in its path. So there's definitely an interesting energy here with water that's coming through really clearly and strongly. But longing for belonging. I didn't do that on purpose. I just rhymed. But yeah, the longing for belonging is very significant right now for the Divine Feminine as she embarks on this quest and this journey, and really finds herself in a place of Divine Feminine. You're finding yourself really in a place of just wanting peace, and just wanting peace, you know, whatever that looks like. And you're kind of like, wherever that leaves me and whoever, you know, ends up in my life, I just want peace. You know, I just want to be happy. I just want to feel like I belong, and I want to find my tribe. So that's what's going to be happening a lot in 2022 is, again, the travel, the opening of borders, global borders internationally. The countries that have closed off are going to be opening again. You'll see that the agenda and narrative is going to change. That's all I'm going to say for the sake of, you know, the platform I'm on right now. But you're going to see that there's going to be a new narrative that's going to be spun, okay? And the old one's going to be out the window like it never existed. So Divine Feminine, you're very much, your body's preparing for this shift. Some of you might feel like you're pregnant, so you're experiencing that birth, but it's really the birth of whatever needs to arise within you. And a lot of you are teachers and your guides and your mystics and your artists, and you're here to create, but that's shifting. That's going to shift, you know, kind of every year here. You're going to be shifting and shifting your offerings to reflect your true nature and reflect the authenticity of your journey. So don't be afraid, Divine Feminine. You know, you saw me go quiet there for a couple days because I was reflecting. I was in the purification, purging process, and I was reflecting on where I was going and where I was headed, so that I could get more clear. The energy is gaining momentum. That's what's happening with this solar eclipse. So the energy is gaining momentum. Yes, we are definitely heading towards the completion of a 12-month chapter of the calendar year, not the actual real calendar year, that would be the Mayan calendar year, but the actual, you know, the calendar year that we go by in the 3D world is, you know, closing out, and it's gaining momentum. The energy of awakening is gaining momentum on the planet. There's just a major quickening. There's a quickening that's happening right now. You're very close to achieving your goal. So do not give up, Divine Feminine. Do not give up on the process. You are shedding your skin. You are birthing a new you. You're birthing a new cycle, a new process, a new idea. You're reinventing the wheel of how you're doing things. Don't give up, because you're in the midst of change. And it can often feel like we're failing when we're in the midst of change, but the outcome hasn't been revealed yet. The outcome hasn't been revealed. So keep going. Prosperity lies ahead. This is a new moon in Taurus. Interesting. We just had the full moon in Taurus and the lunar eclipse. And now we have the new moon solar eclipse. So very interesting energies, guys. Yeah, they want you to hold your vision, Divine Feminine. Hold the vision that you have, whatever regards that might be, because, I mean, the abundance is incoming. With 9 of Pentacles tells us that, but you're being purified. Purity, purification, unicorn spirit, miracles, magic, strength and growth. There's a lot that is shifting right now, and it's not necessarily action time. In fact, I think a lot of us are going to be feeling kind of, you are feeling the cumulative effects of what you've been through this year, and now we're feeling it physically in our bodies. And so you're going to want to rest a lot in December. And I feel this myself. I feel like I'm going to want to go within and rest, and I'm going to want to allow myself to be guided as to when I should post and share. And know that when I do share, it will be very relevant. It will be thoughtful. I don't share just to share or meet a quota. I can't do that. I'm not built or equipped that way. So over on my Patreon, I'm not going to promise you a certain number of posts every month, because I go through the shifts and changes just like you. But when I do post, it will be significant. It will be detailed most of the time. I might do shorter posts from time to time, but the majority of them are 8 to 12 paragraphs that take me hours to put together and edit. And it's very thoughtful. And so same goes with my videos. So when I share, it's thoughtful. There's with an intention. It's intentional, guys. It's not just sharing just to share. So please understand that. But also, when you support me on Patreon, you're supporting my work in general. These videos are free for you. I know there's ads, but that's how the creators, the YouTube creators like myself, make our profits. But there is no cost to you except watching a few ads here and there, which is super helpful, by the way. And so you can consider, you know, Patreon this way to support my work if you feel so called. There's never any pressure. But I do enjoy, I really, really enjoy the written posts, because I am a writer by nature. That is one of my God-given gifts. And it's how I primarily would love to communicate. In fact, if I could not communicate verbally for months at a time, I'd probably be a very happy little girl. Very happy. Yeah, the inner child is like, I just want to go within. But the point to all of this little aside here, is that I'm here, I'm going through this with you, and I'm sharing when I feel most called. So when you feel most called, share of yourself as well, and make sure that you're retreating when you need to and taking the time for yourself, Divine Feminine. I hope this has been really informative and helpful. If so, please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. I'll see you over on Patreon, and if so blessed, I'll see you in a private session or in the next group coaching session. Take good care, guys, and be well.